Helplessness is a choice. Refuse to quit. Make the choices that are right. Again, sometimes people feel helpless because they feel like they're victims without options. Joseph, again, could have said, I'm a slave, I'm in chains, it's not my fault, I'm stuck. What else can I do? And if Joseph didn't have God with him, he was hopeless. He was helpless. But instead, he said, what can I do? What are my options? I can work hard. I can honor God in everything. I can be disciplined. I can know if God is for me, who can be against me? Last time I shared with you the story of Eddie Rickenbacker, a World War I hero, pilot, ace of aces. Well, in World War II, when he was 52 years old, he was on a plane headed for Atlanta, and just outside Atlanta, the plane crashed, nearly killed him. In fact, when the doctors looked at him, they said he was more dead than alive. They weren't sure whether to do surgery or not because they weren't sure if surgery would kill him. They knew he would die without surgery, and the doctor looked at him and said, this is Eddie Rickenbacker. He may die, but at least we're not going to kill him. We're not going to do surgery. And Rickenbacker basically said, nuts to that, get an osteopath and do surgery on me. I'll be out here in 3 days. Well, he wasn't out in 3 days. They did the surgery. He did survive. 4 months later, he hadn't recovered yet. But President Roosevelt gave an assignment to take a message to MacArthur in the Pacific. The plane that they were on crashed. He and 7 men fought to survive on 3 small rafts for 24 days. Each one of those men lost hope, except Eddie Rickenbacker. He refused to let low morale take effect. When somebody started talking like a quitter, he shut them up. He started telling them about his own experiences, how many times he'd been in tough spots, but he always made it out. And then he started prayer meetings. There was one guy that had a Bible, and so twice a day they would have prayer meetings. They'd read the Bible and they'd pray and they'd sing hymns that they could remember. Rickenbacker himself wrote, these guys had never really suffered. This was the first time, and they didn't know how to attack it. He kept them focused on what they could do. We can pray. We can read Scripture. We can look for opportunities for more water. The survivor said, Rickenbacker kept us alive. He was the only one who never lost hope. What can you do? Somebody has said suffering, often people will say suffering brings out the best in people. Not always. Sometimes it makes people warriors. Sometimes it makes them quitters. Oftentimes people see there are no options, especially if you have not suffered deeply and overcome. You'll just say, oh, there are no options, and you lose hope. So when stressed, you run. You leave the marriage. You abandon the family. You bail on responsibilities. You escape to alcohol or drugs. You quit serving. You quit the church. You give up on God. When trouble hit Joseph, he saw his options, refused to quit, went to work, stayed faithful, and the Lord honored him. The Lord was with him.